Okay, in this video, I want to talk about the shifts that are happening in terms of the collective consciousness. So when we understand the energy dynamic of what is going on in terms of our human consciousness, essentially, as evolution has evolved, the understanding of our own perceptions, our own projections, and our self-awareness continues to expand. And it also, again, it's kind of like a wave pattern or a spiraling up, because it's not a steady trajectory of expansion. It's sort of like the breath. So it will expand and contract and expand and contract. And throughout the different cycles of time, essentially, we hit a certain point of ascension where certain aspects of consciousness or certain groups of souls are able to ascend into a higher dimensional field, so to speak, as they collectively raise their vibration. So it's a little bit difficult to understand and teach, because again, you can't understand it in necessarily this complete totality of the human consciousness. Human consciousness has different layers to it. So, in and of the whole, there are certain individuals or individual groups, soul groups, that are sitting currently in terms of their energy vibration at a higher level, and then there are some groups that are sitting at quite an asleep level of consciousness, and various levels in between. So how does this affect us, and why should we care, and does it even matter? I want to try to answer these questions to the best of my ability in terms of expressing through word forms and language. Now, in terms of the question, does it matter? Fundamentally, this is a two-pronged question. It doesn't necessarily matter, okay, in terms of a life or death situation, or the state of your soul, or that there's any dire consequence to understanding this material or not. If you're at a level where none of this resonates or none of it makes sense to you, fundamentally, that doesn't matter. It will either resonate at some point in your lifetime or it won't, and that's the type of lifetime that you are here to lead. Now, the other side of this question is, for those that it does resonate with, why does it matter? Well, essentially, as we go through this awakening process, as our consciousness and our awareness of our own projections and our interconnectedness to other souls, other individuals, other life forms around us, as we increasingly realize how what we are affects the whole, then we have to look at what journey we're on. Where are we going? Where is the destination that we want to end up? And when we're essentially saying that we don't care, then it doesn't really matter where we're ending up. We'll end up where we end up. But once we, do tune into this seeking journey, then the destination is higher vibrational existence. So our journey essentially is to move our energy, the being of our energy, into an existence at a higher dimension, in a higher state of vibrational frequency. Okay, and I don't have any notes on this. I'm basically trying to go as much as I can from what I've learned through channeling, through memory. So sometimes I have to kind of dig into my own database and make sure, again, that I'm giving the information correctly, because I don't want to quote any of this information incorrectly. So this is basically what we would term or deem, again, when we're teaching in language, it is the symbolism that different word configurations mean. And in terms cultural differences, divisions between countries and different religions, again, some of these word forms get a little bit complex when we think in terms of teaching. But I want to, again, try to make this as easy to understand as possible. So when we think of the awakening process, some of the words that have been associated with this awakening or this up-leveling of our vibration in terms of what we are transmuting in terms of the quantum field would be the resurrection, ascension, anything that is to do with the emanation, the beingness, the expression of what you are. And this definitely is tethered into the type of vehicle that you experience. And again, I'm going to really clarify this. I mean in terms of a body. So as we move throughout our journey as a soul, there are definitely more dense bodies that we can incarnate into. Obviously, if we're on planet Earth, we're in this three-dimensional body vehicle, okay? This is, I call it a human suit. It's basically this experiential tool that we get to utilize as a learning mechanism to understand the third dimension and to maneuver through the lessons that we have to learn here in terms of this density. Now, as we are less and less tethered to form itself, to the three-dimensional necessities of the material world, we essentially start to vibrate at a higher level. This changes, or this can change, the makeup of the body or the vessel that our consciousness is contained within. Now, you've probably heard of the term light bodies or light beings, when you may have imagined what it might be like to, again, be in a different type of form. Now, also, we have associated some of these forms historically with angelic beings, anything that is a higher emanation of that divine intelligence. Now, in terms of actually teaching this correctly, all of those terms are kind of synonymous with the same thing, okay? A light being, an angelic being. These individuals essentially hold or have the capacity within their body structure, right down to their atomic structure, their cellular structure, to hold within them more light. So they're more luminous. Now, sometimes this is a bit confusing because really the ability to hold more light or express more light, generate more light, really is completely congruent with the ability to assimilate more information or to hold more information within the confines of your mind, body, soul, spirit complex. And again, some of these teachings are very high level, and it's a little bit difficult to do it in a short video form. So I try to make it, as easy to understand. And certainly at some point, I'm just going to write books about this with lots of diagrams so that, again, it can be understood the way that it's been, handed down to me in almost like a study course, okay? But for now, this is, an easy mode of dissemination in terms of this information. So back to, the why. Why would it matter to us to really even dissect the principle of what type of body we are currently? Well, it's almost in terms of the trajectory of your life path. about goal setting. You will likely, if you are on this path in terms of desiring to move or level up in terms of your dimensional existence, I would say that it would have been something that your soul would have incarnated with this almost purposeful knowing. You would know within yourself that this is something that you would want to achieve in this lifetime, or at least be on the way to integrating as much wisdom as you can into your consciousness, so that again you're moving towards that goal. And I want to actually put a caveat to this, because sometimes again this gets a little bit misinterpreted in terms of different texts that are written and information that's been given throughout the ages. There's not a final destination, so to speak, in terms of you get to this heaven-like, nirvana, whatever it is, and then you just exist there for eternity. It doesn't work that way. Everything is continually in an expansion. And part of this expansion, and part of the way that the system works, again, like I said earlier in the beginning of this video, is it is an expansion, and then also there are periods of contraction. We can also think of this as light and darkness, or good and bad is another way that we can kind of utilize a form of thinking with this. But truly, in terms of energy does not decipher itself in terms of good or bad, or good or evil. It is just this idea of an expansion of energy, or an expansion of knowledge, and newness of creation, and contraction, or contraction of the vibration of the energy, of the information, which can be associated with that which is destruction, or again, it's that contraction. So the reason why we have that duality principle is that we have to understand that the way that wisdom works at these lower levels of existence, due to the duality and the contrast, there is an immense amount of learning that is done through understanding the opposition, or learning through the mechanism of understanding what something is not. So when we are coming into an understanding of our own connection to the divine, our own free will, so to speak, our choice points, the nature of our energy, and our ability to at some point have a higher role in the creation process, we have to be almost entrained or trained what we do not want to integrate into the system, which is to say that, what is counterproductive or not congruent with that loving energy of what creation is. And we understand it at these lower density levels by understanding its contrast, by really knowing what it is not. As we ascend in the dimensions, in the octaves of creation, vibration, informational units of the capacity to hold light within, we no longer require the contrast in terms of our conscious expansion, in which we experience our own consciousness and our own interconnection with that which is creation, that which is the divine, that which is all things and all others, and all fractions of life forms, is it's in the energy of love. It's in this very high vibrational energy that doesn't require contrast. So now, in terms of what's happening currently with the energies on planet Earth, we have had a period of extreme contrast in terms of the masculine and feminine polarities. So we've had a dominant masculine energy, a masculine polarity that was extremely out of balance, that was allowed through the mechanism of the free will system here on planet Earth to exist for many thousands of years. And this was part of a learning cycle. But through the, again, up-leveling, and what happens when one polarity becomes very dominant over another polarity, it actually causes kind of this compression to happen. So think of the pressure that creates a diamond. Now, what happens to that other polarity as the pressure is, put on it, or it is not allowed to essentially be the totality of itself, and it's kind of squeezed into a certain form, or dominated by another energy in a sense, this pressure causes evolution. It causes a newness of that particular polarity to start to form under that pressure. And in a way, a certain type of light is generated, okay? A certain type of beautiful light comes from that pressure. So this is, again, in terms of understanding the energy and the cycles of learning, even though something can seem very terrible in terms of the experience of it, the growth and catalyst that comes from that pressure creates a new type of expression in that particular polarity. So again, we're seeing that rising up of the feminine polarity in terms of the scope of the entire planet. And this is going to be a very unique type of energy, because with the wisdom that was gained from, the thousands of years of these cycles that the feminine polarity went through, there was also a lot of wisdom that was gained and understanding of contrast through watching the masculine polarity kind of go unchecked, okay? And this was, it exists even at a fundamental genetic level in terms of the information that is passed on from generation to generation. So again, I realize that a lot of this information that I'm giving seems to be a little bit convoluted, and in terms of the explanation of it, I don't have enough time in these short videos to go into a really deep explanation. So I'm doing this, in short little spurts as I get the inspiration to teach. And hopefully, again, there'll be a culmination where essentially at some point I put all of the pieces together, and there'll really be, a uniform formation of teaching tools and aids that I can put together for anybody that really wants to understand this information, in its totality, so that you can really, really, really utilize it in terms of your own growth and understanding your journey as this, in your particular incarnation cycle. Okay, I'm going to close this video because, again, I have to get back to work here. But if you have any questions, please post them in the comments, and I will do my very best to provide a comprehensive explanation to those.